guys and welcome to the Watchtower Watch Reviews with your host DK, and today we're looking at one of the Seiko family brands. So it's a Lorus, specifically the Lorus RT351GX-9. And yes, this is not my first take at doing this intro because that is a hard number to remember. I don't know why they do this, but they make it hard for guys like me, I guess. A great looking vintage inspired piece made with the Seiko family branding on it, so you know it should be quality. Let's get to it. So before we get fully into the unboxing, we'll have a quick wrist check. Here is my Orient Komatsu that I'm really looking forward to reviewing for you guys soon. It is very, very nice indeed, as you can see. But we're not here for Orient, we're here for another Seiko brand, Lorus. So I bought this one on Amazon, I believe Amazon Germany. I paid €69.08. Inside the box comes the watch itself, the booklet to explain how it works, and of course the spare links that I've removed to make it fit my wrist. That's your lot. So, dimensions on this one. Diameter is about 45.5mm. At the crown, it's about 48. Lug tip to lug tip, you are looking at 51mm. So this is a fairly sizable watch, but it doesn't wear massive, I must say. The bracelet width is 22mm with no taper on it, down to that clasp, which is actually 23.5mm. The thickness on this one is 11.3mm. And the weight on it with all links is 162 grams, with 5 links removed, 139 grams. So specifications on this one. So we are looking at all 316L stainless steel construction for the case, the crown, and of course the pushers and the bracelet. It is high polish on the sides. I'll just give it a quick wipe there. And that will mark up. You can see that little small crescent-y shape cut into the case there that I made when I was changing out the bracelet for a strap. It's not too noticeable, but it is there if you look hard enough, and you will find it. Also, the dial is covered by a piece of completely flat mineral glass with no anti-reflective coating, as you can see there for my studio lights. It is completely flat and it will scratch and scuff up, as opposed to sapphire, which tends to not scuff up, but it will actually shatter if you really abuse these watches. However, you get an aluminium tachymeter bezel in black on this model. You do get brushed bracelet, however it is all hollow links and hollow end links with these sort of push pins. They're a sort of L-shaped push pin that seem to come on Seikos. Also, it is a stamped pressed clasp with just 2 levels of micro adjust, so you probably will end up having to wear this one a bit loose or a bit tight depending on your preference. However, I will say female end links, which is great. It means it conforms a bit better than the case size would suggest. If I pop one of the links to show you the case back, you can see there that VD53 movement, which is a Seiko in-house movement that they make. You can also see the spec list on this one. It is a Japan movement, it is all stainless steel, and you get 100 meters of water resistance along with that signed case back with that Lorus logo. It is of course stainless steel, so you won't have any risk of irritation. Speaking of that movement, of course, the VD53 is a regular quartz movement. Pull it out once to set the date. Pull it out again to stop that running second hand and to set the time. In order to activate the chrono at 6 o'clock, press down on the top pusher once, it starts it running, and if you push it down again, it stops it running. To reset, you just simply use the bottom pusher. Also, you have 2 subdials, a 24-hour subdial and the chrono tracker dial. Okay, so it is macro time. So you can see there a slightly thicker applied indice at the 12 o'clock position to distinguish it from any of the others. Thinner ones then at the 5, 10, 20, 25 mark, as you'd guess. Tachymeter printed along the outside of that fixed bezel in black. You can see there Lorus Chronograph and 100 meters just printed on at above or below the 12 o'clock. At 3 o'clock you have the 24-hour subdial, which is framed and in this cream color on this variant. And if you go down here, you can see the white date wheel, which is unframed at 4:45. Printed track for the chrono hand down there at 6 o'clock. And also the minute tracker for the chronograph there, again applied and framed, which is not bad in fairness for a watch that costs less than €70. And here it is out on my 7-inch wrist on a bitterly cold Irish day, but it is sunny, so you get to see it nicely in the light. You can see there that brushed effect on the bracelet and the upper lugs is meaning that you don't get that shiny look you get off a cheap watch. However, to me, if it's a vintage style chrono, you put it on some vintage style leather. These are just some AliExpress straps I picked up. I think they were about €6 or €7. They're not very expensive. I'll drop a link down below anywhere for you guys. However, I think it goes really well on black or brown. It's a surprisingly versatile dial, this one, with that kind of reverse panda look with the black and the cream subdials. Goes well on black, goes well on brown, and it even goes pretty well on tropic. I was really shocked by this one. I thought this would be a bit strange, and it is a bit sporty because it has that 100 meters of water resistance, so you could probably get away with actually swimming with this one. And even a NATO, this black and grey NATO, again an AliExpress special, it's not half bad. I didn't expect to like it as much on these different straps. I thought I was just going to keep it on leather, but I think it suits pretty much all of them. And now it's time for some loom. And there is some. That's about as positive as I can get with this one, unfortunately. Normally I film 15 minutes of footage and it gets 2 minutes of light from my UV torch. This one is gone after 5 minutes on the camera, which means realistically the loom lasts maybe an hour at best, an hour and a half, 2 hours if you're really good with your sight, but it's not an all-nighter. Likes and dislikes. Well, I had a like on this one that I thought it was a completely original piece. However, a friend of mine said it bears more than a passing resemblance to this Tissot. Make up your own mind, let me know down in the comments, because I'm not so sure about that one. Dislikes though, unfortunately there's quite a few on this one. These links and the bracelet is pretty cheap and nasty, doesn't really bend that much and conform to your wrist. You can see there that again, they don't make a very good job of making sure that you don't notice they're folded links. They do pull a few hairs. Also, it's a cheap press clasp with only 2 levels of micro adjust, so that's why I have it on leather most of the time, because I just think this is a bad bracelet. It's a really cheap bracelet. You could see where they've saved the money on this one, unfortunately. Hollow end links as well on this. I don't actually mind hollow end links as much as I mind hollow links, but it's still worth mentioning. I'd prefer if they were solid. Also, high polished side to the case, which means that if you are changing bracelets, you pretty much need to put some masking tape or something over this to make sure you don't scuff and scratch the side like I did. However, there are also a couple of other small things. This tachymeter bezel is kind of useless because the chrono hand is at 6 o'clock and the red second hand is the second hand. I would prefer if the red hand was the chrono hand and you could use that tachymeter bezel, because the way it is at the moment is kind of just really for design. So if I press that pusher, normally what you use a tachymeter for is to time how many times you can do something in an hour. It doesn't really work that way because, well, the chronograph hand is down at 6 o'clock and doesn't follow the tachymeter bezel. Bit of a strange one for me. But, you know, it's probably a cost-saving measure, and if they'd put in a better movement, it would have cost 20-30 euros more. However, there are plenty of things that I do like about this one. I love the aesthetic of this. I think it's fantastic. It really does give you that vintage look. Even if it isn't an original design, maybe it's an homage. I'm not too sure on that one. Also, as you saw from the video, it is surprisingly versatile for straps, which I was amazed by. Also, you do get quite a few different things packed into this one. I mean, you're getting 100 meters water resistance chronograph with a date function in a very cool design from a respected brand. Lorus are part of the Seiko family, which is really, really good. So you are technically getting a part of the Seiko brand for 70 euros with a chronograph. That's not bad at all to me. Also, the finishing's not terrible on it at all. I will say that the bracelet integrates very well with the lugs, and the fact that the bracelet is brushed is not too bad at all. I mean, I know it's hollow end links and hollow links, but it is still a brushed bracelet, and it does still flow very well into that sort of squared case. You can see there, it does integrate very well, there's no real gaps, and it's not too bad all in all. So there you have it, my review of the Lorus RT351GX-9 chronograph. A great looking vintage inspired chronograph piece for not a whole lot of money. Now, you do have to make a couple of concessions. You do get mineral glass, you get hollow links in the bracelet, hollow end links. It's not the greatest bracelet and it's not the greatest setup. However, put it on leather and I think it's a completely altered beast. An absolutely gorgeous vintage looking chronograph. But I'd love to know what you guys think. Make sure to leave a comment down below, like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. I have been your host DK. This has been the Watchtower Watch Reviews, and I will see you guys next time.